There comes a moment when your kindness begins to ache, when the very empathy that once made you beautiful starts to feel like a curse. You feel the weight of others' emotions as if they were your own. And in the silence of your exhaustion, something whispers, "This pain isn't punishment, it's awakening." You've carried the wounds of others like sacred relics, believing it was love. But empathy without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. Somewhere along the way, you learned to abandon yourself to keep others comfortable. Now your soul refuses to play that role any longer. The breaking point isn't destruction, it's revelation. What feels like collapse is your shadow rising, demanding to be seen. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You're not losing yourself, you're finally meeting the parts you buried. Every empath has a moment when they stop absorbing and start observing, when you realize not every storm belongs to you. The chaos around you was never proof of your love, it was proof of your avoidance. You feared rejection so deeply that you confused it with connection. The narcissist sensed your light, not to cherish it, but to feed on it. Yet they never understood the source. Your energy was never theirs to own. They only mirrored your unhealed need to be seen. Once you see through the illusion, their control dissolves like smoke in sunlight. This is where your real transformation begins, not in saving, but in separating. The empath's evolution starts when compassion meets discernment. You can still love deeply without being consumed. Boundaries aren't walls. They're sacred gates protecting the energy that sustains you. You start to see the hidden pattern, how you were trained to fix what was never yours to heal. You inherited guilt disguised as virtue. But healing doesn't mean carrying what others refuse to face. True empathy honors both your pain and your peace. As you reclaim your energy, the world begins to shift. The narcissist feels your absence like oxygen leaving the room. They'll call you cold, detached, selfish. But what they're really saying is, "You're no longer under my spell." Your silence becomes your strength. Don't confuse detachment with apathy. Detachment is divine clarity, the ability to see without absorbing, to love without losing yourself. It's the empath's initiation into sovereignty. You finally realize that protecting your peace is an act of sacred rebellion, and slowly your light changes. It's no longer fragile or desperate to be understood. It becomes calm, centered, and unbothered. You're no longer chasing validation, you're embodying presence. This is what it means to awaken, to shine without apology, to love without losing yourself. But awakening isn't gentle. It's not candlelight and calm oceans. It's fire. It burns through illusion, through roles you thought were you. The more you awaken, the more you realize how much of your identity was built on pleasing, fixing, enduring. And as the masks fall, you finally see who's been hiding underneath. You meet the part of you that's angry, the one you silenced to stay likable. You meet the grief that never had permission to exist. This is the shadow, not as a monster, but as truth. Jung said, "To confront a person with their shadow is to show them their own light. Your darkness isn't your enemy. It's your map. As you face what you've avoided, clarity returns like breath after drowning. The pain you feared was never meant to destroy you. It was your teacher. Every boundary crossed, every silence swallowed, carved the outline of who you are becoming. You were never too sensitive. You were simply too awake for a sleeping world. The empath's curse was never their sensitivity. It was their forgetfulness. You forgot your own power. You forgot that compassion without self-awareness becomes self-sacrifice. Now, remembering feels like rebellion. You're reclaiming every fragment you gave away in the name of love. People will sense the change and call it coldness. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right. You no longer explain your worth to those committed to misunderstanding it. Your energy is no longer available for emotional scavengers. You've stopped bleeding for those who never learned to heal. This is the sacred loneliness, the space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's not isolation. It's incubation. Your silence now holds power, not pain. You start to realize that solitude is not emptiness, it's alignment. The world calls it distance. Jung called it individuation. Your energy starts to feel different, less frantic, more rooted. You don't chase clarity anymore. You become it. You no longer absorb chaos. You observe it. You start to see life not as something to survive, but to understand. This is how an empath becomes an alchemist. You begin to see through the projections how others painted you with their fears, their insecurities, their unmet desires. They didn't see you. They saw their reflection. Now, with awareness, you return those projections to their rightful owners. You finally stop mistaking reflection for connection. The old you would have tried to fix them, to make them see. The new you knows that awakening is not contagious. You can invite someone to awareness, but you can't carry them there. Your peace no longer depends on whether others understand it. That's freedom. Quiet, steady, revolutionary freedom. And with that, something beautiful happens. The weight that once suffocated you becomes air. You stop chasing closure because you realize you already are the ending. You no longer need to be chosen to feel whole. The empath who once absorbed everything now radiates, untouched, grounded, awake. You begin to understand that peace isn't passive. It's power refined, the calm that comes when chaos no longer dictates your rhythm. You used to mistake drama for depth, intensity for intimacy. Now you see that stillness isn't emptiness. It's the echo of alignment. Your intuition sharpens. It no longer whispers. It commands. You start trusting the quiet signals, the discomfort in your gut, the pull in your chest. These are not fears to silence, but guides to follow. The empath's intuition is the soul's compass. Once ignored, now fully awakened. The people who once drained you can no longer reach you. Their words, once hooks, now fall flat against your boundaries. You've learned that not every invitation deserves your energy. Protecting your peace doesn't make you distant. It makes you discerning. And that discernment is sacred. This phase of awakening feels paradoxical. You feel lighter, yet deeper, softer, yet stronger. You start seeing beauty not in perfection, but in presence. The need to prove, to explain, dissolves. You realize your energy speaks louder than your words ever could. You begin to love differently, not through rescuing, but through respecting. Love now feels spacious, not suffocating. You no longer confuse attachment with devotion. You can hold someone without losing your center. This is maturity of the soul. Love that liberates instead of binds. The old triggers lose their grip. What once consumed you now feels distant, almost unreal. You've outgrown the frequency of pain. It's not that you've stopped feeling, You simply stopped identifying with the wound. Healing didn't make you harder. It made you whole. And when memories resurface, you meet them differently. No more running, no more resistance. You watch them like clouds passing through consciousness. What once defined you now only refines you. This is integration, the moment when your past stops being your prison and becomes your teacher. People sense your energy shift. Some are drawn closer, others fall away. Don't chase either. What aligns will stay effortlessly. What's false will collapse under its own weight. The universe reorganizes around authenticity. Your only task now is to remain true to your essence. You begin to live from the inside out. No longer reacting to life, but responding through awareness. You start seeing meaning in everything, even the silence, even the endings. Life stops feeling random and starts feeling sacred. You realize you were never walking alone. Consciousness itself walks with you. This is not the end of your journey. It's the birth of your sovereignty. You no longer look for light. You are the light. The empath who once absorbed pain now transmits peace. You've become the calm in your own storm, the witness in your own transformation. This is the freedom Jung spoke of, the wholeness of being. You may be at the beginning of this journey, somewhere in the middle, or nearing your own illumination. Remember this, there is no right timeline for your feelings or thoughts. You are on your path. The very act of watching this, of seeking understanding, is proof you are moving forward. You may not yet have shed every weight, but your effort is visible, and I honor you for it. As you step deeper, you notice subtle shifts. Your awareness of patterns, your capacity to pause before reacting, these are signs of growth. You are learning to distinguish between what belongs to you and what is the echo of someone else's shadow. Each choice to stay conscious, each boundary you honor, reinforces your sovereignty. This is not small work, it is sacred. You start noticing the moments when you unconsciously mirrored others, when you absorbed what was not yours. This reflection was once your survival mechanism. Now it becomes your teacher. The awareness itself carries power. Each recognition of past patterns is a thread unraveling, loosening the grip of old entanglements. You are untangling, quietly, yet profoundly. In this unraveling, fear often resurfaces. Old doubts, old guilt, the voice that whispers, "You are not enough." Let it come without resistance. Feel it fully, and then let it pass. You realize these shadows are only signals, not commands. They point to where integration is needed. They guide you toward your own center, a place of clarity that has always been waiting. Your energy begins to shift. You feel less compelled to explain yourself, less tethered to validation. The weight of invisible expectations lifts as you honor your inner compass. You are learning that saying no is not rejection, it is protection. Saying yes with full awareness is not obligation, it is conscious generosity. You are mastering the rhythm of your soul. The world begins to respond differently. Situations that once triggered you now mirror your growth. You see who respects your boundaries, who cannot handle your presence, and who aligns with your vibration. You no longer chase approval or fear conflict. Your discernment becomes a shield and a beacon. In this presence, you are untouchable in your authenticity. Even the memories that once haunted you now serve as teachers. You revisit them not with shame or self-blame, but with curiosity. Each emotional scar becomes a map, showing where courage was required and where you claimed your strength. You realized the past did not break you, it refined you. The empath who survives pain transforms it into wisdom. The energy you once surrendered is now reclaimed. Every moment of exhaustion, every tear shed is transmuted into inner fire. You begin to radiate light that does not seek to fix or control, but simply is. This light reveals truth and dissolves illusions. Those who cannot face it may falter, but for you, this is liberation, the essence of your own power awakening. You start to understand the subtle art of holding space for yourself and space for others without losing yourself. Compassion becomes fierce and discerning. Boundaries become extensions of your soul rather than walls. You no longer need to absorb every burden, yet you remain present. This balance is sacred. This is the hallmark of an awakened empath. You feel the wholeness in small gestures and silent moments and choice itself. Life no longer sweeps you away. You move through it with awareness, claiming your rhythm. The power of the empath is not in pleasing, nor in enduring, but in standing fully in the light of your being. Each breath, each pause, each act of presence is a testament. You are sovereign. You are luminous, and you are awake. As you awaken further, you sense the threads that connect you to others. Your energy resonates beyond yourself, touching unseen lives. Each conscious choice ripples outward. You realize that the journey of one empath can inspire many. Your presence alone begins to challenge patterns that thrive on fear and submission. The shadows around you do not vanish, but they no longer control you. You walk with awareness, seeing both light and dark as part of the whole. What once frightened you now teaches you. Pain becomes a guide, not a prison. You carry the strength of survival intertwined with the grace of understanding. Every encounter is now an opportunity for insight. You meet projections, defenses, and illusions with clarity. The trickster, the manipulator, the wounded soul, they reveal themselves but no longer dictate your emotions. You hold your center, calm and observant, embodying the archetype of the conscious empath. Your inner fire grows. It is not anger, but illumination. You no longer burn out from absorbing every disturbance. Instead, your light transforms chaos into insight. This is alchemy, the transmutation of pain into wisdom, exhaustion into power, suffering into discernment. You are becoming both artist and vessel of your own life. The weight of expectation dissolves as you honor your rhythm. You realize that your worth is inherent, not earned by sacrifice or approval. Boundaries are not barriers, but sacred conduits for energy. You begin to move through the world with a sovereignty that is felt, even if unseen, by all around you. Old relationships shift. Some fade, some transform, others return in new forms. You no longer try to change anyone, nor do you allow manipulation to persist. Your discernment is precise, yet your compassion remains vast. The empath who awakens does not react impulsively, but engages with intention, rooted in inner truth. Dreams, once chaotic, now guide you with clarity. Symbols emerge not as warnings, but as maps to your own power. You rise from waters that once threatened to drown you, stepping into fields of open possibility. Each step affirms your sovereignty. Each breath reminds you your life is no longer borrowed from others' expectations. The collective begins to feel your light. Your energy calls to those who are ready subtly, without force. You realize the ripple effect of awakening. What you integrate within yourself inspires transformation around you. The fed-up empath becomes a lighthouse, steady, unyielding, illuminating paths for others through their own shadows. Power is no longer hidden or passive. It flows through every decision, every moment of attention, every act of self-respect. You are no longer invisible to yourself. Recognition of your own authority and worth is magnetic. Those who cannot hold the intensity of your presence will naturally drift away, leaving space for authentic connections. This is the alchemy of the awakened soul: integration, discernment, and illumination. The empath's journey, once solitary and silent, now radiates outward, transforming every shadow it touches. You are both flame and forge, healer and warrior. And in this moment, you embody what it means to live fully, sovereign, luminous, and unshakable. As you reach the culmination of your journey, the fire within you burns steady and pure. You no longer fear shadows, for you have integrated them. Every wound, every betrayal, every exhaustion has become a tool, a teacher. Your awareness now radiates with clarity, and your presence commands both respect and reverence. The world may still offer illusions, yet you walk through them untouched. Your sensitivity is no longer a burden but a compass. You feel deeply, yes, but without being consumed. Love flows through you without loss. Power manifests without harm, and wisdom is carried with humility and strength. Every challenge is now a mirror reflecting not your weakness, but your potential. The trials that once seemed endless are now milestones of growth. You stand at the threshold of self-mastery, aware that every act of self-respect, every boundary honored, is a declaration of your sovereignty. Those who sought to manipulate or diminish, you feel the shift even before it is fully visible. They sense a force that no longer bends, no longer fears, no longer entertains deceit. Your awakening is silent yet unyielding, subtle yet transformative, like a river carving through stone over centuries. You understand the dance of energy, giving, receiving, protecting, releasing. Compassion is no longer blind. It is fierce. Love is no longer conditional. It is radiant. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to honor your truth, to practice presence, and to cultivate connection without compromise. The archetypes you embody, healer, warrior, alchemist, merge into one seamless expression of being. You are complete yet evolving, gentle yet unbreakable. Shadows are no longer enemies, but allies, whispers of wisdom guiding each conscious step you take toward wholeness. Even in solitude, you are never truly alone. Your energy resonates with those who are ready to awaken. Your light acts as a signal, a guide, a quiet invitation for others to face their own shadows. Through your journey, the path becomes visible, and the unseen becomes known. This is the power of the fed-up empath, not in getting back at others, not in holding grudges, not in anger, but in conscious evolution. You embody what others can only seek. You are a living testament to the truth that integration of shadow and light is the ultimate liberation, the ultimate strength, the ultimate grace. Look at yourself now. You have traversed the labyrinth of emotions, the corridors of manipulation, and the stormy waters of expectation. You have emerged not hardened, but illuminated, not broken, but sovereign. Your journey is a beacon, proving that wholeness is possible, even in a fractured world. And so you stand here, radiant and unshakable, fully aligned with your essence. The fire within you no longer wavers. It guides, protects, and transforms. You are healer, warrior, light, and guardian. The world may resist, shadows may linger, but your presence is a force that cannot be denied. You have arrived whole, luminous, unstoppable.